Hey guys, Buddy Fufu here. Have you ever wanted to get coached by myself or another high-valued pro? Well, now you can with InstaPro. We will take a look at all the replays you got. We can even play games with you. Not ranked games, but normal games, all right? This ain't no boosting service. You can get started for as little as $5 today by clicking the link in the top of the description, and thank you to ProGuides for sponsoring this video.
Hello Summoners, and welcome back to another ProGuides OP Korean builds video. My name is Christoph, and today I'll be going over some of the latest and most OP builds that have been rising in popularity in Korean Challenger. A bunch of you guys had been asking us for our personal recommendations on this topic for quite some time, and luckily for you, we have a ton of connections to Korean Challenger, so we decided to give you guys the latest builds for every role, so you can pick a handful of these and try them out in your next few games. Alright, let's get right into it. Starting with the top lane, I do want to mention that there is a brand new top lane course on ProGuides.com where you can learn to become that unstoppable split push threat. This course has everything you need to know about laning in the top lane, and it can help increase your rank significantly. Check it out using the description link below. There's been a few new builds that have appeared in the top lane, and the first one is for Pantheon. Conqueror Pantheon has been seeing a lot of play in Korean Challenger, but it's actually more effective in lower elos where your opponents don't respect Pantheon's early game. You want to take Conqueror, followed by the Inspiration Tree for Biscuits and Perfect Timing. Then rush a Duskblade or Youmu's Ghostblade into a Black Cleaver. Since Pantheon is such an easy champion to play, it won't be hard for all you top lane mains out there to add him to your champion pool. With this build setup, you're looking to take those long extended trades and utilize the passive from your W and the burst from your Q and E to chunk out your opponents. Try this out and let us know how it goes. Next up, we have a unique build for Jax that's been rising in popularity for the past few days. I'm sure most of you are aware of how popular ranged champions are, such as Kennen, Ryze, Jace, and Nico since MSI. While Jax struggles during the early game versus these champions, Challenger Korean top laners have been using a new creative setup which allows Jax to easily win lane. Instead of the traditional Conqueror keystone, you want to take Grasp of the Undying, followed by the Inspiration Tree for Biscuits and Time Warp Tonic. Build this into a Triforce and finish off with a Spear of Shojin. With this build, it'll help you survive the early game poke from these ranged champions and help you reach your power spikes a lot more safely. Last for our top lane, we have TRYNDAMERE. TRYNDAMERE is tearing up the Korean solo queue ladder right now and has one of the highest win rates in Diamond and above. He recently received a buff on his E which reduced the cooldown of this ability by 1 second. Although this change seems very small, it actually is a massive buff. He's really good right now, and there's a new Korean build which is sweeping through Challenger games with ease. You want Lethal Tempo, followed by Sorcery Second for Nimbus Cloak and Transcendence. Build straight into an Essence Reaver and then purchase a Triforce or Rage Blade depending on your matchup. Try this build out and grab that freelo while you still can. Alright, moving on to the jungle. Our first new jungle build is for ZHAO. I'm sure most of you guys are aware that ZHAO's build is pretty much set in stone with not much flexibility. However, there's been a new jungle build for him which is just straight up broken right now. You want to take Hail of Blades, followed by Precision Second for Alacrity and Triumph. Then you want to finish your Blue Smite Warrior jungle item into a Spear of Shojin Rush. After you use your ultimate, your cooldowns become ridiculously low and you can spam them within 6 seconds. This build pretty much auto-wins against team comps with a lot of marksmen, so make sure to tilt the enemy jungler or ADC with this new setup. Next up in the jungle, we have a brand new build for NIDALEE. NIDALEE has been seeing a lot more play since the Scuttle Crab changes due to her ability to clear wraiths as her first camp. However, a lot of notable players in Korea have been straying away from this full AP jungle build and going more of a hybrid route. For runes, you'll want to take Electrocute followed by Sorcery for absolute focus and water walking. Then you'll want to get Red Smite into a Runic Echoes and then build into a Triforce. With this setup, you'll be looking to weave more auto attacks in between your abilities while kiting your enemies. However, do keep in mind that this hybrid NIDALEE route is much more difficult than the full AP one, so make sure to get a lot of practice with this before you jump into ranked. This is one of my favorite builds right now, and our analysts predict that this might even become the standard way of playing her. Lastly, for our jungle builds, we have TALIYAH. For some odd reason, TALIYAH always seems to blink out of existence and then steadily makes a comeback out of nowhere. Recently, a lot of Korean Challenger junglers have been spamming her in solo queue again while using a brand new build for her. You'll want to take Dark Harvest followed by Sorcery Second for absolute focus and water walking. Then you want to build your Runic Echoes into a Twin Shadows. Using the Spooky Ghost active will allow you to have a much stronger gank potential and makes it a lot easier for you to hit your W. TALIYAH is probably sleeper OP right now because so many pro players are abusing her in solo queue, so make sure to give her a try. Alright, now it's time for the mid lane. We have 4 brand new Korean builds for the mid lane this time, and the first one is the more general build for AP Burst mages. AP Burst mid laners such as Ahri, Zoe, LeBlanc, and Syndra have all been taking Smite in the mid lane again. Some of them prefer to go Unsealed Spellbook, while others like to take Electrocute for more burst. But overall, the key takeaway here is Smite. Runic Echoes recently got a price reduction, which makes it a better and more cost-efficient version of Luden's Echo. On top of that, this build gives you more dueling potential with either red or blue Smite, so it'll be a lot easier to solo kill your opponents. Give this a try when you can, it'll likely get nerfed within the coming patches. Next, we have a build on our favorite burst mage, Lux. Although Lux is more frequently played as a support in high elo, she's been seeing a lot more play in the mid lane as a hard counter to Zoe. However, with so many skilled players in Challenger, it's really hard for Lux to land her skill shots. They are just so easy to dodge. Korean mid laners have found a solution to this and have started to build Lux as a hybrid support in the mid lane. You want to take Summoner Aerie, followed by Inspiration for Minion Dematerializer and Cosmic Insight. Then you want to build your Luden's Echo into an Ardent Censer and a Mage Eyes. This does less damage than your traditional full AP route, but it allows you to take a step back and become that extra support that your team needs. Our third build for the mid lane comes from the best solo queue player of all time, Dopa. Dopa's been grinding on the Korean ladder and he's come up with a new innovative build for Orianna. He takes Unsealed Spellbook, Time Warp Tonic, and Biscuits. He then rushes a Luden's Echo and either goes a Morello for more burst or a Banshees or Zhonya's for more safety. With this build path, you're looking to be flexible enough to adapt into any situation in your game, and if the enemy Zed gets fed, then you'll swap your summoner to Exhaust. If the enemy team has a Sejuani or Thresh, then you'll want to swap to Cleanse. You get the point. Lastly, for the mid lane, we have Corki. Rather than being traditional fleet footwork setup that we all know and love, Korean mid laners have been completely swapping him to a Kleptomancy route. Kleptomancy is the most optimal way to gain a lead against champions who have pretty low range and need to walk up to CS. Corki has always struggled with hitting his power spikes until late in the game, so grabbing a few extra sacks of gold will help him out a ton. The build consists of Kleptomancy with Precision for Alacrity and Coup de Grace. Then you want to rush a Triforce into a Zeal item. I've tried this build personally, and getting those high rolls on the Klepto procs is so satisfying. Alright, on to AD carries. If you've watched MSI recently, then you've probably been aware of Syndra being played in the bottom lane. G2 used this pick to demolish SKT during the semifinals at MSI, and it's becoming a staple pick for solo queue ever since. You'll want to take either Electrocute or Arcane Comet, followed by Inspiration second for Biscuits and free boots. The item path is the same as the traditional route, which consists of Luden's Echo into Morello. Everything about this pick is the same as Syndra mid, except she's being played in the bot lane right now. If you've played Syndra before, then you have no problem adjusting to the new lane and one-shotting the enemy AD carry. The second new Korean build for AD carries is for Lucian. The traditional route for Lucian was getting a Blade of the Ruined King and then building straight into a Black Cleaver. However, almost every challenger Korean Lucian main has been ditching this build and going full crit instead. The runes are the same with Press the Attack followed by Inspiration for Boots and Biscuits. For items, you'll still want to rush a Blade of the Ruined King, but instead of the Black Cleaver, you'll want to get an Essence Reaver into a Zeal item. With this new build, you should be avoiding Black Cleaver, stick to Last Whisper as your main source of armor pen instead. This new setup will completely decimate squishy champions on the enemy team. Lastly, for AD carries, we have Kai'Sa, and no, it's not the Muramana build. That's old news. Although this build is quite unpopular compared to the Stormrazor or Manamune route, it is still viable and can be better than both of the traditional builds in the right scenarios. You'll want to take Press the Attack followed by Inspiration second for Magical Footwear and Biscuits. Then you'll want to rush an Infinity Edge into a Rage Blade and finish off with a Zeal item. This build has a ton of early game burst and is extremely effective if you manage to get a lead during the laning phase. And finally, on to supports. We have two new builds for supports in patch 9.11, and the first one is for Rakan. Rakan has recently received a gameplay update, and there's been a new build floating around Korean Challenger that has been doing very well. The runes are pretty standard with Aftershock, followed by Precision for Presence of Mind and Legend Tenacity. You want to start the game with the first upgrade to Spell Thief's Edge, followed by Moby Boots into a Righteous Glory. Try to roam as much as possible with this build. You're now going to shift your playstyle into a tanky engage support, almost like Alistar. Try this out and let us know what you guys think down below. I still have split opinions on this build, but if Korean Challenger players are doing it, then it can't be that bad. The last and final build we have for this video is our beloved inting cat YUUMI. YUUMI is a fairly new champion, so a lot of builds are still being discovered for patch 9.11, but we found a common trend amongst Korean YUUMI mains, and the build goes something like this. Since she's untargetable while attached, a lot of players have been going a full glass cannon route. They take Summon Ahri, followed by Precision Second for coup de grace and Presence of Mind. Then they build a Magus, an Ardent Sensor, a GLP or Twin Shadows, and top it all off with a Death Cap. This build does a ton of damage, and a lot of players don't expect this type of burst from a support champion, so make sure to catch your opponents off guard with this new setup. That's it for our new OP Korean builds video. We'd love to hear your suggestions on how to make these videos better, so if you could help us out and leave a suggestion down below, we'd love that. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content like this in the future. Also, make sure to check out ProGuides.com using the description link below if you want to see massive improvements to your gameplay. That's it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck in your next few games, and we'll see you on the Rift.